So, as I explained right at the onset, we have a Chabad seminary here in Montreal. Our students are trained to become teachers and to become directors of institutions around the world. We have over 1,600 alumni around the world who are today manning Chabad houses, synagogues, and community centers. And the purpose of us putting together this event tonight is in order to promote education and to bring about the awareness of Yiddishkeit, Judaism, and tradition in our community. So in our quest to get this program off to an auspicious start, the committee at the seminary was quite clear in what we wanted to achieve. Our first lecturer would have to be a dynamic, eloquent, deep-thinking, thought-provoking speaker with broad appeal and name recognition. One who is passionately driven by Jewish and Torah values, and one who speaks honestly, courageously, forthrightly to the issues of the day. Needless to say, Dennis Prager checked all of those boxes and much more, including a great sense of humor, ingratiating warmth, and disarming charisma. What is so amazing about this is that in spite of his crazy writing, traveling, speaking, and broadcasting schedule, Dennis somehow managed to squeeze in this engagement with our community right before the onset of Rosh Hashanah, the New Year 5780. We are truly honored and grateful that he has chosen to do so. Now, it may have to do something with the fact that notwithstanding his incessant globetrotting, Dennis' last visit to Montreal was approximately 35 years ago. So perhaps he felt that this trip was long overdue. I don't know. What I do know is that from the very, very first telephone call that we had, I remember it was a Saturday night after Shabbat, Dennis and I hit it off on the telephone. Even without getting down to the tachlis, could Dennis come? Could he not come? Will he make it? Could we do it? Could we raise the funds, and so on and so forth? We both thoroughly enjoyed our banter on many, many issues on the phone. In fact, at one point, Dennis tells me, even if I don't end up coming to Montreal, Rabbi, this will have been well worth it just for the phone call. Well, maybe so, but I'm glad you're here, Dennis, my dear friend. Thank you for remembering Montreal at long last. Ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Prager is one of America's
You didn't finish.
It's okay, stay here.
I heard Dennis Prager, I came up.
It's okay. Dennis Prager is one of America's most respected talk show hosts. His nationally syndicated program is heard by millions of listeners across the United States every weekday from noon to 3 o'clock Eastern Time from his home station in Los Angeles. He is also widely sought after by most of all the major national and international television news shows for his opinions. Dennis Prager is a syndicated columnist and a New York Times bestseller author of 6 books, including books on Judaism, the Bible, anti-Semitism, and the topic of his lecture tonight, happiness is a serious problem. Having lectured in 45 of the 50 United States, 9 of Canada's 10 provinces, yes, including Quebec, on all 7 continents to Jewish, Christian, and secular audiences alike, Dennis has been named by Toastmasters as one of America's 5 best speakers. His internet-based Prager University, which produces 5-minute courses by some of the world's most important thinkers, almost on every subject of human interest, is getting millions of hits every single day. Dennis Prager's 2002 documentary, Israel in a Time of Terror, provided a powerful look on how Israelis deal with everyday threat of terror. His short video explained the Middle East conflict has been seen by more than 10 million viewers around the world. And his defense on Israel at Oxford University went viral. My friend, it should make us very proud that a man as smart, as influential, and as proudly Jewish as Dennis Prager uses his many powerful megaphones to call things exactly as they are. What should make us even more proud is the way he is winning over the hearts and minds of our young population in the process. Without further ado, please welcome warmly the pioneer and presenter of the Ben Weider Memorial Lecture Series, Mr. Dennis Prager.
That was great. That was great. One moment, everybody. When I go to Christian groups, I go, "Hi, I'm Dennis Prager, tallest Jew in America," and so that's why we have to do this. Well, it's a total delight to be here. This man, Rabbi Cohen, is a total delight. Give him a hand because he made this thing all possible, and I am really delighted. He's right about our speaking a lot on the phone. It got to the point where my wife would say, "Is that Rabbi Cohen?" If I would be talking on the phone, she just assumed it was Rabbi Cohen in Montreal. We've had a wonderful relationship, and then meeting you. So I have a lot that I would like. You're not hearing well? Microphone is off. I hear it. All right, let's see what happens. Is that better? Is that better? I don't know what to do because. Sorry? Take off the microphone. I mean, just speak like this? Fine? It's okay?
Here's the microphone.
This totally reminds me of a Jewish joke. With all the yes, talk without a mic. No, talk with the mic. Maybe some of you may know this. The rabbi goes to a new congregation and he wants to know, do you folks stand or sit for the Shema? The credo of Judaism, the Shema. So they start saying, no, we've always stood. The other group goes, no, we've always sat. So they start yelling at each other. And then one guy comes up, hey, the original rabbi's at a nursing home. He's 98. Let's ask him. So both groups go to the rabbi at the nursing home. And they go, Rabbi, we're trying to decide what was the original thing in this synagogue, standing or sitting for the Shema. So the group that says, let's turn it off. So the group, one group, they're not used to using a microphone in an Orthodox shul. So one group goes, Rabbi, didn't we sit? And they said, remember we would always sit. Rabbi didn't say anything. Then the other groups, Rabbi, of course we stood, but remember we would always stood. Says nothing. Then they start yelling at each other. And the rabbi goes, that's what we did. So when I hear yes microphone, no microphone, at a church, there would be no argument. Whatever the Holy Spirit leads you to do, use a microphone, don't use a microphone. I know Jews and Christians really well. I have a very funny speech. What Jews and Christians can learn from each other. You can get it at the Prager store. I'm not trying to sell you a lecture, but it is funny because I've been very blessed to be very involved in both communities. In any event, I want to say a word about Chabad and happiness. And Rabbi Cohen is a perfect example of a Chabad rabbi. He radiates happiness. He does. Now, I know Chabad rabbis very well. They have as many issues in life as normal people. Which you would find amazing because they all radiate happiness. So I am about to tell you something, and I'm sorry, all of you affiliated with Chabad. I am one of the few, maybe the only non-Chabad to know what happens if the Chabad rabbi in a community is not happy. What do they do? Word gets back to Crown Heights. Rabbi Goldstein, is there a Rabbi Goldstein here? Rabbi Goldstein is he's somewhat of a grouch. He's not a happy guy. So they send a group from Crown Heights to say, no, Yitzchak, we're getting word that you're not happy, or a Chabad rabbi is supposed to be happy. to the wise is sufficient. They go back to Brooklyn. Word gets back 6 months later, no improvement. They send a group at 3 a.m. They kidnap the rabbi. They take him back to Brooklyn. They put in a new Rabbi Goldstein, who looks exactly like the other rabbi. And all they know in the community is Rabbi Goldstein got happy. Because they look alike. And that works. So I just want you to know what happens. This may not be the real rabbi. You don't know. You don't know. By the way, I've written a lot about Chabad for non-Jews as well as non-Chabadnik Jews. And I've written a number of articles why Chabad is so effective. It is far and away the most dynamic Jewish organization in the world. I mean, and I'm not a Chabadnik, I'm not even officially Orthodox. I'm deeply religious, but that's a separate story. So I have no axe to grind. I'm just telling you as I see it. They're uniquely unique. Uniquely unique. And one of the reasons is the happiness. One of the major reasons is that they're happy. I went to a frum neighborhood, I don't want to say which. I went to a frum neighborhood. I've been to 130 countries. I take travel very seriously, as you would imagine. I have a lot of theories about life. Many of them are the consequence of all this travel. And I can tell you who are happy communities. I can tell you fairly quickly which is a happy community and which is not a happy community. And I have been to frum communities in Israel and neighborhoods where they radiate unhappiness. It is not a guarantee that if you're frum, if you're Orthodox, if you're black hat or whatever, you'll be happy. Chabad is Chabad. Happiness is a very big factor in their success. So here's my basic thesis. Happiness is underrated. As much as people want to be happy, its significance is deeply underestimated. There is nothing more important, except perhaps goodness. I mean, theoretically, it is more important to be a good human being than a happy human being. However, it is very rare to find a happy human being who is evil. Okay? So it's a little, I mean, when you think of the people who lined up with the Nazis, it wasn't like, all the happy guys in Berlin, we got a meeting for you. It doesn't happen like that. The anti-Semite does not radiate a happy disposition, or the communist, or the Nazi, or whatever it might be. Happiness is huge, and it is not taught as being so happy. So this is what I want to tell you. I just want to make one comment about my being here. I learned that, as you pointed out, apparently my last visit to speak in Montreal was about 35 years ago. And I have to say, that's a bit humbling. I clearly didn't go over that well. When the hiatus between your lectures in a city is 35 years, it's like they waited to that generation to die. And a new generation that never heard of Prager, oh, let's give it a try again. And if that doesn't work, well, give it another try 35 years from now, and hopefully I'll be able to walk up to the podium. Hopefully I'll be able to walk. Hopefully I'll be breathing. But in any event, it is funny to say, this is the largest. Previous to this, it was Charleston, West Virginia, and it was about a 25-year hiatus. So this is the largest. So I'm very happy, obviously, to be back, and especially happy to see all the young people who watch Prager videos who were here, and it means a lot to me, as you would imagine. So let me explain. Let me give you a number of things, and yes, it's almost dangerous for a speaker to say, if this talk does not touch your life, then I failed. But I'm totally willing to say that. If it doesn't, then either I failed or you failed. It's all kinds of things. I'm not joking. Maybe that I didn't communicate correctly or persuasively, or you weren't open to hearing. But it should change your life for the better. It should. Happiness, number one, is a moral obligation. Happiness is a moral It is a moral obligation to do so, and here is one of the reasons. The happy make the world better. This is something I say every week on my radio show, because I have an hour on happiness since 1999. I even had the happiness hour the week of 9/11. Because if you don't talk about happiness when there's tragedy, all your theories are worthless. You can't just talk about happiness when things are good. Tragedy is part of life. The happy make the world better, the unhappy make it worse. The unhappy make the world worse, and they make their intimate world worse. Ask anyone raised by an unhappy parent this question: do you think that happiness is a moral obligation? And then you will get the answer, and that will end the issue for you. Ask anyone raised by an unhappy parent what that is like. Ask anyone married to an unhappy spouse. I'm going to get to spouses. That's going to hit home in half the cases here, because most unhappy people are married to happy. As I always say, the moody may be awful, may be miserable, but they're not stupid. They never marry one of their own. Never. I have never, in all of my public life, in all of my talking about male-female relations, met a moody married to a moody. Every moody is either married to, every moody is married to a non-moody. Some non-moodies are married to non-moodies. Those are the lucky people on earth. It's a small percentage, but that exists. But anyway, I'll get back to the spouses later. Ask anyone raised by an unhappy parent whether or not it is a moral obligation. Person married to an unhappy person. Anyone who works with an unhappy colleague at work. I mean, it's so obvious when I say it that people, as soon as I say it, they go, yeah, wow. And as far as the world is concerned, do you know that I judge religion on the basis of whether it produces happy people? I get this question all the time on my radio show. And that is, Dennis, you really affected me about the importance of God and religion, so I'm shopping. How do I know what to do? So many people answer, well, go where your heart feels is right, go with, or many Christians would answer, follow where truth is. But truth is an odd term for religion, because there are leaps of faith that you can't. I believe God gave Moses the Ten Commandments. Is that the truth? I can't say it's the truth. I can say I believe it with all my heart and soul and mind, but is it the truth? It's not the same truth as I'm speaking to you from this podium. There are leaps of faith. That's perfectly appropriate. So my answer, which satisfies almost no one until they think about it, is if the religion produces happy people, then they're going to be good people, then it's true. That to me is enough. And it's, again, this is not a traditional religious answer, but that's how much importance I give. Chabad, its appeal is rooted in its non-judgmentalness, and I'm very judgmental, by the way, because for the record, I am totally pro-judgment, but not in every area. I'm not going to judge you on the basis of how strict you are in the laws between man and God. That is God to judge. I mean, I will judge you on ethical matters, but not on specifically quote-unquote religious matters. But their happiness is huge. And when I was in this frum community in Israel, and I saw people walk around, no one was smiling. Here's a test that I really have. I've taken photos, it's a hobby of mine. I've taken photographs all over the world. It is very interesting to see how people react to being photographed. Now, I never stick a camera in people's faces. That is not right. That's rude. But I will ask permission, or I just walk along the street taking pictures randomly. I love to take what's called street photography. In this community, they told me no pictures. It wasn't a Shabbos. It was a weekday. No pictures, no pictures. I had that as well, by the way, in many Arab countries. No pictures, no pictures. I did it in the Philippines, though. A bunch of kids almost naked. They lined up to pose, laughing. When I told them I'm from California, they all wanted to know if they could get into movies. These kids, it was so, by the way, my travels made a big impact on them. I saw in my 20s, I saw naked kids in India
who are happier than well-dressed kids in much of America. This stuff, I learned from these travels. They've had a big impact. Happiness is a very big deal. Happy people make the world better. Unhappy people make it worse. You are sinning if you act unhappy. You are not sinning if you feel unhappy. That's my point number 2. I don't care how you feel. I mean, I care at some human level, but I don't really care. I care how you act. You don't care how I feel. I travel every week of the year. I'm on an airplane. At least one, at least 2, because I got to get back somewhere. So I fly constantly. And when I sit down, I always say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever it is. I don't want to have a 4-hour discussion. And I live on the West Coast, so it's very often a long trip. I don't want to have a discussion for hours. But I don't want to have silence the whole time either. There is a very big difference in traveling. I'm very sensitive to this. There is a very big difference in traveling next to somebody who says nothing to you and who says hi. Just hi. The difference is huge. And I like that. I go, hi. And then I even have a routine. I go, are you from here or there? In other words, where we are now or where we're flying to. They'll tell me the answer. I may say, what brings you there? And that will pretty much end it. But I want a human to sit next to a human. That's my thing. By the way, fascinating. A study just came out, which I cited on my happiness hour. I spent an hour on this subject. People who talk to strangers are happier people. And I never saw the study, but I had always told people I am crazy about strangers. In fact, I haven't tested myself in elevators. Can I make the person laugh by the time they get to their floor? This is a contest I have with me. What absurdity can I come out with that will make this person laugh? And I love it. I love strangers. By the way, the 1 in 10 strangers who thinks you're crap, that doesn't bother me. I'm very unself-conscious. So they'll think I'm an idiot for opening up with a joke. Doesn't bother me in the least. For the other 9 out of 10, it is worth everything. So I don't care how, you ask me, do you care? I care. But obviously, my point is, I don't care if the guy or the woman next to me is in a bad mood. I care if they act in a bad mood. So this is the thing that is most important. How you act is infinitely more important than how you feel. And guess where I got this life-changing insight from? Judaism. Totally. And by the way, 90% of my listeners are not Jewish, and I tell them I got it from, they ask, where did you get this idea? From Judaism. And I'll tell you when it started. In 4th grade. One of my 10 favorite stories of my life. 4th grade in yeshiva, I went to yeshiva till I was 8. 4th grade in yeshiva, rabbi gets up, says, boys, time to daven mincha. When I tell the story to non-Jewish groups, of course I explain, it's time for the afternoon prayers. Increasingly for Jews, I have to explain. It is one of them. Anyway, time to daven mincha. So, I think God gives you a bunch of traits before you're born, and deprives you of a bunch of traits. But one trait I got was chutzpah. But by the way, it's not a negative. That doesn't mean disrespect, it just means audacity. So I always had chutzpah, but I was never disrespectful. And I respectfully walked over to Rabbi Fostek, 4th grade, Yeshiva Rambam, Brooklyn, New York. And I go, Rabbi Fostek, and I was dead serious and sincere. Rabbi Fostek, I'm not in the mood to daven mincha. Rabbi Fostek was from Eastern Europe, but he spoke English very well. But even to this 4th grader, it was clear he had never heard mood and mincha in the same sentence. Clearly a brand new concept. You have no idea how often I have used that on the radio when people have told me about things, and I go, so political, personal, and then they have no answer. I had no answer. So what? Your mood doesn't mean a damn thing. That's what he's telling me. One doesn't daven mincha because one is in the mood. One davens mincha because one is supposed to daven mincha. This was amazing. It would change my life. It didn't change my view of mincha, but it did. I'm not proud of that. I mean davening or an issue. But in any event, but it was totally life-changing. From then on, I never in my life once said, I'm not in the mood. My parents would tell me to do something, make your bed. I didn't say I'm not in the mood. When you realize that you're not in the mood to do most positive things. What are you in the mood? Are you in the mood to visit the sick? Who's in the mood to visit the sick? God, another great day to visit the sick. I'd much rather do that than watch a movie. If you feel that way, see me afterwards. Mood, schmood. By the way, you're laughing now, half of you won't laugh now. So, on the basis of Rabbi Fosday, I write a syndicated column in America. You can obviously see it on the internet. It's all over, every Tuesday. 10 years ago, I wrote my column not on politics. I wrote the column titled, When a Wife is Not in the Mood. And it was dedicated to Rabbi Fosday. The answer is, so what? That's the answer. I'm sorry, ladies. That is the mother's answer. You love your husband like baby. You have to love your husband. It's not a matter of you're sick or whatever. But women are not in the mood, as a general rule, as often as their husbands. Okay? That's real life. You won't learn that at Harvard because they don't teach real life at Harvard. Harvard is make-believe. I'm not kidding. I'm dead serious. It's all make-believe. The universities of the Western world. What I just said would be considered sexist, misogynist. Of course, it's not a negative. It could be a negative against men. You could say, oh, it's a bad thing about men. They're sexually preoccupied. Well, yes, men are sexually preoccupied. As a good friend of mine in yeshiva, a totally straight guy, came over to me one day, junior in high school. He goes, Dennis, I've been interviewing the guys in the class, and I'll tell you something. Came to realize 1 out of every 10 thoughts a man has is not about sex. I went on to be an Orthodox rabbi. So, yes, you're not in the mood, and therefore what? If your husband loves you and you love your husband and you know how important it is to him, then maybe it's worth saying, so I'm not in the mood, I'll give it a try. That's it. Simple as that. That article, which went viral, obviously, because people don't talk like that today, and one huge left-wing site, Daily Kos, said Dennis Prager advocates marital rape, which is even one of their own writers said that's ridiculous. I mean, I can't stand Dennis Prager, but he didn't advocate marital rape. That's a little absurd. He said only if you love him, if he loves you, he's a good man. Not every time, I understand, but sometimes don't be guided by a mood. And I said, and this drove them crazy, what if your husband woke up and said, I'm not in the mood to go to work? So every so often you say, good darling, stay home. Sleep in. But if regularly a guy said, I'm not in the mood to go to work, it's a problem. Because life is filled with obligations. Sex is an obligation. We certainly have that in Judaism. It is an obligation. It's a beautiful thing that it's an obligation. Because it is, if you rely on mood, not a lot of good is going to happen. I'm not in the mood not to have dessert. I'm always in the mood for dessert. Okay? I'm normal. That's it. But to show you, the New York Times had a piece. Look it up, because it'll sound to you like I made it up, but I never make up anything. I have great credibility because I'm so strict on truth. New York Times had a piece about 4 weeks ago on its op-ed page, opinion piece. And it's by a nutritionist, a woman, writing, no child should be put on a diet, which I immediately knew was absurd. Just an absurdity. Of course children should be put on diets. And she ends with, let them be guided by their wisdom about food. A child has wisdom about food. A child's wisdom about food is more. That's in essence a child wisdom on food. I want to have another rice cooker. There's no wisdom about food. This is everything in life. Nothing. I'd like to know the only time mood should actually determine anything is if it's inconsequential. So if you're debating, do I want sushi tonight or I want delicatessen tonight, putting this in Jewish terms, then okay, be guided by your mood. You want to see a film, be guided by your mood. There are times the mood is fine, but it's inconsequential. But if something is consequential, you can't be guided by mood. Your feelings don't matter in life. Your actions matter. That's everything, your actions. This is so important. It is the root problem of communism. Communism was based on good intentions. From each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. Tell me that doesn't sound beautiful, right? Sounds beautiful. And it produced the Gulag, the greatest mass murder machine in the history of the world was communism, even more than the Nazis. Nazis didn't have enough time, but that still remains the case. That was communism, based on the Yetzer HaTov. Let me tell you something about this. This is Judaism believes that we're born with two urges, creative instincts. Yetzer Tov, Yetzer Ra. Many of you know this. The good urge and the bad urge. And the general Jewish teaching is they're at battle with one another, right? My Yetzer Hara, you should cheat on this test, you'll get into Harvard. My Yetzer HaTov, doesn't matter if you get into Harvard, you still can't cheat. Okay, just giving you an example for a kid's life. So, I have come to realize that the wisdom of the tradition is just awesome. The rabbis of the Talmud said, so why did God make the Yetzer Hara? Why did he make a bad urge? So then the rabbis have an amazing answer. Because without a bad urge, a man, he would not get married, he would not take a job, he would not make a living, he would not make anything. And I remember as a kid in high school learning this and thinking, what's left? It seems like everything good comes from the Yetzer Hara. What's the Yetzer HaTov doing? If you get married, make a living, create things, and work. Because of the Yetzer Hara. Sure enough, in my 20s, I went to a rabbi for advice, professional advice, and he said to me something that obviously I've never forgotten. And he said, Dennis, I got to tell you something. I pretty much have my Yetzer Hara, my bad urge, under control. It's my Yetzer HaTov that gets me in trouble all the time. That was brilliant insight. That's why I never forgot it. The Yetzer HaTov is what is ruining Western civilization. People think that if they mean well, that's all that matters. Actions don't count, intentions do. Why do people dump on capitalism? Capitalism is the only thing that ever lifted people out of poverty. It has lifted most of mankind out of poverty. Only capitalism has done that. Because it's based on selfishness. I want to make money. Socialism, it's rooted in the desire to share and be equal. Right, but it never has not produced 10 cents in poverty-killing profit. Poverty has been destroyed by the Yetzer Hara, not the Yetzer HaTov. And that's true in life. Actions are all that matter. Judaism is an action-oriented religion. It's one of the reasons I adore it. It's about behavior. I'll give you a really dramatic one. That is another way in which Judaism shaped my life. You can't sit Shiva. You can't mourn on Shabbat. You just lost your husband of 45 years. You just lost a parent you love, or even a child in the most painful loss there is. And you can't mourn on Shabbat. Who the hell is Judaism to tell me whether I can mourn or not? But it does. You can't mourn. That is the ultimate statement that behavior shapes feelings, and you can't allow feelings to shape behavior. That day you don't cry. That day you don't sit on the ground. That day you don't mourn. That day people don't come over and tell you about grief. That day is Shabbat like any other Shabbat. And if it's a Jewish holiday, it ends Shiva. Because we have the Samachta B'Chagecha, there's a commandment, it's one of the 613 commandments of the Torah, to be happy on Jewish holidays. Or at least the festivals, to be totally technical. That's an amazing thing, a commandment to be happy. What if I don't feel it? Too bad, man. You're not in the mood. You acted. And you acted. That's, by the way, you know where there's the second wisest thing after the Torah is the 12-step program. What people who addicts have gone through. And I didn't notice, I have been very lucky that I have not been subjected to addiction. But many of my listeners have. Over the course of years, I've been broadcasting 35 years, so I've talked to tens of thousands of people. I mean, I've talked to millions, but I've talked with tens of thousands. All of a sudden, I would get this wisdom from callers. And finally, I decided to say, where did you pick that up? 12-step program. Next caller, another day. That's brilliant. Where'd you get that? The big book. It's the 12-step program, so to speak, Bible. And you know what? You know what one of the mottos of 12-step addiction programs is? Fake it till you make it. That's Judaism's motto. That's my motto. Fake it till you make it. Act happy, you'll start feeling happy. Act anything, you'll start feeling what it is. Anything. Rafe Fiennes, the actor, was the Nazi commandant in Schindler's List. He had a horrible role, obviously. He would stand on the balcony after having a lover. He would stand on the balcony and he would choose his target practice. Interviewed in the New York Times, he said, I couldn't wait till the film was over. I started acting meaner in real life. Isn't that amazing? He's acting a Nazi commandant in a movie, and he's getting meaner in real life. How you act is how you will be. Act nice, you'll feel nice. Act sexy, you'll feel sexy. Act religious, you'll feel religious. You keep Shabbat, whatever way you do it, you keep Shabbat 52 times, or 48 times in the next year. Take 4 off. You tell me after a year, you're totally happy to go back to movies and eating out and ball games on Friday night. You won't. In most cases, you won't. Act religious. This notion, I won't be religious till I believe or till I feel, is simply stupid. It's stupid. You're never going to feel it on your own. Walking down whatever the major highway or byway in Montreal is, you're not going to get a theophany. God is not going to appear to you like Saul of Tarsus who found Jesus on the road to Damascus. It's not going to happen. You act it, then you'll feel it. I go to shul every week because it's good for me. That's it. It's good for me. Now I want to go to shul every week. But I started because I knew it would be good for me. I'm in the mood to sleep in Saturday morning. I'm in the mood to get up. So I go. And in my case, I really love where I go, so it's a bonus. Act it, act it, act it, act it. Take up a musical instrument and then tell me a year from now I'm sure most of you have no interest in taking up a musical instrument. Do it for a year, then tell me you want to give it up. Then I respect you. That's it. You've done it. You've acted it. Let's see if after a year of piano, you have no interest in it. You have no interest in it now, but I'm not sure you would have no interest in it after you start playing. By the way, the converse to Ray Fine, I live in LA for 35 years, 40 years, whatever it is. I moved there in 75, and I have no interest in Hollywood, none. So, however, there was one actor I developed a real friendship with, Charlton Heston, who was known to those of you over 40 and those under 40. Under 40, you might know he was Moses in Ten Commandments. I asked him this question. I said, did playing Moses affect you? He said, deeply. He said, people saw me as a good figure. I couldn't do bad stuff. I started seeing me, and he didn't think he was Moses, but I started seeing myself as Moses, just like Ray Fine started seeing himself as a Nazi commandant. Act like Moses or act like a Nazi commandant, you'll end up feeling differently. But we don't tell that to kids. We live in the age of feelings. How do you feel about it? Tell your kid you don't care how he feels about it. That's the better way to raise him. Okay? You know who cares how you feel? You. The rest of the 7 billion people on earth don't care how you feel. They all care how you act. And you know it's true because you don't care how the rest of the 7 billion feel. You only care how they act. This is huge. It's huge. Same with happiness. Act happy. Doesn't mean you walk around bubbly, but it means you don't walk around moody. Anyway, it's a sin to inflict your bad moods on others. I compare bad moods to bad breath and bad body odor. You don't have to shower nearly as often as you do. For hygienic reasons, you don't need to shower every day. Most of you do. Immune system. So, that's right. Most of you brush your teeth every day. We do it for others. That's why we do it. You might feel better after the shower, but the truth is you don't want to smell bad. If you were alone on an island and there was a shower, I'm not sure you shower every day. But if you have relations with other people, you want to smell good. And you want good breath. Think of moods like breath and body. Bad breath equals bad mood. You can't inflict it. Brush it away. And you can't unless you are perhaps bipolar. I'm not addressing those for whom there is only biological reasons behind their depression or whatever. I fully acknowledge, I recognize that, and so on. So I'm not talking about that. It's a minority of people, and even those people, I still believe, act to the extent that you can act a certain way, and I believe even among the bipolar, it might become. But most of you are not bipolar, and you're not on such medication. A woman came over to me at a speech I gave in LA last Sunday, a week ago Sunday. Said, I just want you to know, Dennis, I really am happy I'm here tonight to tell you this. My 40-year-old daughter died 8 months ago. I know a lot of people who lost a child because of the nature of my work. So I have a very warm spot. And look, it's a unique club nobody wants to enter. But it's very interesting to me how people act afterwards. I mean, over the long term. There too, even there's a choice. She said to me, I want you to know, you are the reason that I have happiness. But I lost my daughter 8 months ago. That was one of the most wonderful things a human has ever said to me. That I got to her so deeply on the obligation to be happy, even if you had such a horror happen to you. The unhappy think the happy have had it easy. This is one of the self-delusions of the unhappy. Oh, so-and-so is happy. They suffered like I did. They really did suffer like you did. In fact, they may have suffered much more than you did. That's the truth. How is there one Holocaust survivor who walked around with a smile? How is that possible? after what they saw, which we can't imagine. But they made a determination. Not all could. I'm not judging those who couldn't. I'm going to judge someone who went through Auschwitz. I'm not an idiot. But I can tell you about the people who decided. I can't give the Nazis the posthumous victory. Not the one that one famous Jewish philosopher said, posthumous victory is if he was assimilated. Posthumous victory. No. Come on, I meant here. I immediately added, this is not Toronto. I am well aware of that. You're happy. That's very funny. I'll check that out next time. In Montreal, they say they're happy. He said, don't give Hitler a posthumous victory, meaning no assimilating. And they were saying, I'm not going to give Hitler a posthumous victory by being miserable for life. This is how big this notion is. Actions are everything. So then I come to couples, and as I told you earlier, I would say 80% of couples, 90% maybe, are a moody married to a non-moody. In fact, when I meet couples, I have chutzpah. So I'll often just say our first meeting, so which one of you is the moody one? I find it's totally unpredictable. You would think more likely the woman is very often the guy. And it's fascinating. Now, sometimes the moody one doesn't take it out. Now, if you're moody and you don't take it out on your spouse, then more power to you. That's okay. People can live with that. It's when you take out, when you inflict your bad. That's a sin. That is a sin. I am a behaviorist. Act X, you'll feel X. I was invited by, in case you don't know, conservative. And so you do. Anyway, so I was invited to one of the most prestigious high schools in LA, private high school. Kids go to Ivy League schools afterwards routinely. Some of the conservative kids in the class worked out a way to get me to speak. They almost never had conservative speakers in school. They did. So my wife and I show up, and they go, Mr. Prager, they're conservative, so they say Mr. So they say, Mr. Prager. So what are you speaking of? And I said, happiness. And they couldn't help looking disappointed. They worked their tails off to finally get a conservative to speak at their school. And I'm going to talk about happiness, not conservative politics versus left-wing politics. I said, please trust me. This is the most important thing I can speak on if I'm here once. I was right. They said it was the longest lasting conversations about a speaker they ever had at the place. The teachers hated my speech. It was a very good sign. Most of the students hated the speech. Also a healthy sign. Why did they hate the speech about happiness? Because I said, I don't give a damn how you feel. They had never heard an adult say to them, I don't care how you feel. I only care how you act. We have raised a generation of narcissists who believe that their feelings are what matter, and they don't. Your actions matter. You will only be judged by your actions. I don't care if you would like to be a mass murderer. If you are a mass visitor of the sick, that's all that matters. If you have fantasies about mass murder, it's between you and your mother. But I judge you by your behavior. Nobody told them that. My older son was in a Beverly Hills park when he was about 2 or 3. And a kid about 8 walks over and just throws him down on the ground. I wasn't there, his mom was. And she told the story. The mother ran over to the boy who threw my son down, and she said, "Darling, what's troubling you?" If my son threw a 3-year-old down, as I stand in front of the tomb, unless I had a brain tumor, I would not say what's troubling me, because I knew what would be troubling me. I would have no care if they threw down. Then what do they learn? What's troubling you? Who cares what's troubling you? You did something wrong, bad, even evil. That's all that matters. Or if you will, so on. Back to so on and Rabbi Foster. This is the great message. It is a moral obligation. The American, I asked Charles Krauthammer, I'm sure many of you are familiar with, he grew up in Montreal. So we had a lovely relationship, and I asked him once on the radio, I said, "Charles, you grew up in Canada, and of course you've been living in America all these years. So what's the greatest difference between America and Canada?" I had no idea, of course, what to say, and it was a tough question. You know, I don't know if he's ever been asked it. You got to come up with something. But he was brilliant and fast. This is what he said. You'll find it interesting as Canadians. He said, "Well, the motto in the American Constitution is life, or the American founding document of the Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our motto in Canada is peace, order, and good government." And I thought, yep. And pretty much that sort of solves that problem. And I guess I'm quintessentially American, which I am. I was asked by an Israeli group in LA, by the way. They said, "We want to have you," and of course, of being Israeli, they offered no money. So they said, we would like you to speak to this big group of Israelis in LA. I said, "Look, since you're not going to pay, then here's my condition. You interview me in Hebrew." Because I like to practice Hebrew with them. So you speak Hebrew? Because they all obviously hear me on the radio, I speak English. So anyway, it worked out. So they asked me in Hebrew, one of the first questions, "Are you first a Jew or an American?" So you'll find this answer very interesting, both as Jews and Canadians. I said, and I came up with it spontaneously like Charles did on my question. And I have kept it forever. This is like 30 years ago, and this is my answer. I have 2 fathers, Abraham and George Washington. That is how strongly American I feel. This is unique, by the way, to American Jews, I think. I'm sure many of you feel, and should, by the way, loving toward Canada. It's been a blessing for Jews, and I totally get it. But there is a uniqueness to the American Jew, including often many bad things. But that's a separate issue. Anyway, so I embodied this notion, the pursuit of happiness. The founders of the United States picked a great trio. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They're all values. But we don't think of happiness as a value. We don't even think of liberty as a value. This is one of my biggest themes in my life. Liberty is a value, not an instinct. People much prefer to be taken care of than to be free. Just look at the Jews leaving Egypt. We'd rather be slaves in Egypt and have what we want to eat than have manna in the desert and be free. The Torah's got everything. It's unbelievable. People rather be well-fed slaves than free people who aren't as well-fed. I don't mean starving, just that not as well-fed. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, they're values. We shall choose life. But pursuit of happiness is a moral value. Yes, you should pursue it. A lot of people write on happiness say, "Oh, it's only a byproduct of other things." It's not true. You pursue goodness, you pursue honesty, you pursue religion. Everything good in life is to be pursued. just like tzedek, you have to pursue justice. You have to pursue happiness. I'll end with two little examples from my book on advice that I give to people that I know has been effective. The most popular chapter, my book on happiness, Happiness is a Serious Problem. You can get a used copy very cheap. Reading a used copy for which I get no royalties, than not read it at all. But anyway, the book is Obstacles to Happiness and Solutions to Happiness. It's 2 parts. I found out, I would never have predicted this, the most popular chapter, the one that has affected the most people, according to 20 years since it's published, and people call it, I would never have predicted, is called The Missing Tile Syndrome. And this is what it is. Is this a tiled ceiling? No. Well, sort of. It's got boxes. Let us say you look up here. Only one of those boxes was missing. It was a hole. What would you focus on? The hole. That's what people do in their lives. They focus on what they're missing. You know how I learned this? A bald guy once said to me, you know, Dennis, whenever I walk into a room, all I see is hair. Now, I have all my hair, so I obviously didn't think, I'm sure I would think. But that is a woman, many women have said to me who want to get pregnant, all I see are pregnant women. Which, by the way, isn't even statistically true. So many women are not pregnant. But that's all they see. If you want to get pregnant, then you're having difficulty, or you're not married, and then you're conservative, you think you should get married before you have a child. You will just see pregnant women. A woman who thinks her thighs are too big, all she sees are slim thighs. I'm married to a woman, I'm well aware of what it is. No, it's remarkable, the missing tile. So the answer to the missing tile is either get the tile fixed or forget it. That's the answer. If you could really get the missing tile, then get a missing tile, fill it up. But everybody has missing tiles. So many people have told me that matters. And here's one other, the most controversial chapter in a non-controversial book. This has been a huge, huge element in my own happiness. And this, to be honest, I got it from Buddhism, not Judaism. I studied comparative religion in England, and it was a Buddhist teacher, an English Buddhist. So he's saying, here you have to understand Buddhism teaches all pain in life comes from desires and expectations that are not fulfilled. The moment he said it, I realized he's right. And the moment later, I thought, I'm only taking 50% of it. Not to have desires is absurd. Then you're not going to have a cancer cure. If you don't desire to cure cancer. That's why, by the way, and there's a lot brilliant in the Buddhist world. The Buddhist world is not going to come up with a cure for cancer. They don't have desires. Desires, yes, desires are good. Obviously, it depends what you desire, but they are very good. But the second part changed my life in 1 minute, in 30 seconds. From that moment to this day, I have had no expectations. I expect nothing. You can ask my wife. I know this sounds crazy. You expect nothing. That's correct. I do not expect to wake up tomorrow. I assume I will on rational grounds. I'm not suffering from an illness that I'm aware. I'm not an idiot. I know that the odds are that I will wake up tomorrow, but I don't expect it. Because there are many people giving a talk now or talking to their kids or their wife or their friends, and tomorrow they won't wake up. And you know that because you know someone that died in their sleep totally suddenly, or died sitting in a chair totally suddenly, or got a cancer diagnosis totally suddenly, and then died very shortly thereafter. So I, as a result, this is the key, I walk around in a permanent state of gratitude, stunned gratitude at how much is going on, because I expect nothing. Now, businesses invite me to speak, and they think, well, are you telling our people not to have any goals? Then they won't succeed. I said, no, I want you to have the biggest goals in the world. I just don't want you to have expectations. Take baseball. If every single baseball player expects to win the World Series in April, right, when they start the season, a lot of them are in for a very unhappy life. They should all want to win the World Series, but expect to win the World Series? It's not a good idea. It's maybe a good idea for baseball. It's a bad idea for happiness. I look at everything as an unbelievable, undeserved gift. It's a major part of my happiness. I can't believe how much I can give every day. God, I'm not sick today. My kids are not sick today. My wife is not sick today. My friends are not sick today. All my closest friends are still living and still fine. The list is incredible because I don't expect any of it to have happened. That's the way you should live, because gratitude is the mother of both goodness and happiness. Ungrateful people are bad and ungrateful. Ingratitude, which, by the way, is one of the reasons that I am so angry at a certain ideology in America, but I won't politicize my speech, because it produces deeply ungrateful people. They should be walking, every Canadian should be dancing in the street with gratitude to live in Canada, and every American should be doing the same about America. In America, everyone is told, oh, it's so terrible for you. You're gay, you're black, you're Hispanic, you're female, it's terrible for you. It's a blessing for all of them. Happiness is big, isn't it? That's why this is a sort of crusade of mine. When Rabbi Cohen chose this, because I wanted to come and speak on medieval Jewish poetry in Romanian. He invites me, I think he hits the final word. When he picked happiness for great, this is as important as anything I can talk about politics or anything else. If you take this stuff seriously, you will change your life and the lives of all those around you. Act it. Don't wait till you feel it. Thank you very much.
We're going to do it right over there. You're going to go up there.
Before I open up the questions, comments, and brief alternate speeches, anyway, so can't be enjoyed. Just as long as they're brief. I'm not one of those that you only ask a question, you want to make a statement. Brevity. I just want to
You're going to plug those in?
I volunteer.
If you want to talk about
I want to say a word about 5 years.